Hi there. It's been a while. Welcome to episode 138 of All This Science, the science podcast that describes a science concept in 5 minutes or less. And it's all raw and unedited. And I am your host, Dr. C, the science guy from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, home of the 2019 Canadian Football League CFL champion, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Today I want to talk to you about the concept of getting together with 2,000 other science educators because I just traveled to the United States, boy my arms are tired, to take part in the National Science Teaching Association NSTA conference. Not sure why they call it national because I'm from Canada, not from the States, but they still took my registration fee. It was NSTA's 75th anniversary, by the way, half my age. Congratulations. Now, I have presented at an NSTA conference before with a colleague in the past in Denver and did a session on icebreakers. We presented lots of great games, and you can email me allthisscience@gmail.com, and I'll give you a free package of those games. But that was a while ago. I wanted to see right now how the NSTA was doing. Overall, it was an excellent conference, lots of great presentations, lots of smiling student volunteers giving up programs and being helpful. Still, I get lost easily. I need more signage. I need little dots to follow to tell me where to go. We entered the convention center through some back alley. I wanted there to be a sign saying, "Hey, science teacher, do not enter through a back alley. There will be super heavy doors and they will be locked and you will end up trapped in an echo chamber with tumbleweeds." But the font size would have to be really small to read all that on one sign. So I just turned around and walked through 3 hotel lobbies, a Shake Shack, and a nail salon to get to the main doors of the convention center. The NSTA app on the iPhone or other Android device was good, so I could browse with sessions to attend. Some of the session descriptions even had links to the materials that the presenter would be presenting. You could download it beforehand, which I thought was pretty convenient because then you could get your nails done in the aforementioned nail salon while the presentation happened. So, here's my observations and tips for the brave people who present things at this conference, from molecules to mitochondria. Tip number 1, enlist a friend or eager attendee to help you distribute any materials to the other attendees before the session starts. Have your assistant keep attendees near the front. More people involved will make for a better presentation than having everyone knitting at the back of the room, unless it's a knitting presentation. Tip 2, I don't need your whole life story. I know you are a science educator. Let's get down to business. If you want to broadcast your biography, well, I'm just going to buy your book. But don't get me started on the presentations I've been to, which were like infomercials, and all the presenters wanted to do was to have you buy their book. Tip 3, if people come in late, just ignore them. Don't repeat what we're doing. There has to be some penalty for coming in late. After all, we don't repeat an entire lesson to our students when they come in late. Tip 4, don't just read every word on your slide, PowerPoint or any other software. Interact, move around, and if you want to share a link, use tinyurl.com or other URL shortener to make it simple for everyone. Tip 5, become friends with the technology you have. Make sure it all works before you start. If you're showing an animation, do it offline. Don't be at the mercy of the fickle internet, especially in hotels. And don't talk about how great the animation is while the title of the animation is showing on the screen with a big circle saying, "Click here to start," for 10 minutes. All of us just want you to push that button. We can talk about it after. Tip 6, ask questions, but don't get in a one-on-one discussion with one attention-hogging audience member and exclude everyone else. In other words, treat the audience like students because, hey, they sure act like students sometimes. Tip 7, don't keep looking at your watch and say that you are running out of time. We have no clue you're running out of time. Just like most students don't read the curriculum guide for 10th grade science, well, some helicopter parents do, we don't know the complete details of your presentation and don't need to know that. Take your time, relax, tell a few jokes. There won't be a standardized exam after the presentation. Tip number 8, don't thank us 100 times for coming. We had to see something. We had to go to some talk. Maybe we just chose yours because it was the one closest to the restaurant. And don't talk about how you created your presentation, how you were on the bus from Springfield last night and were using a new Prezi app to make your presentation. Just present. Oh, and BTW, by the way, acronyms. Please always give the full name at least once and then the acronym. Now, I know that NGSS stands for Next Generation Science Standards, but if I was from outer space, I might think it stood for Star Trek The Next Generation Science Standards. If you are going to really, really narrowly focus on issues involving only the state you are in, usually the one hosting the conference, allow all of us from different states or provinces or planets to quietly leave, because we will find the talk irrelevant. We could then go for a field trip to the zoo to see an irrelephant. Now, here's some quick tips for audiences, the attendees. Number 1, don't be a jerk. I saw audience people texting during the entire presentation, talking over the presenters, capturing Pokemon, just like students. I heard 2 attendees yakking to each other just outside the door in a loud voice as the speaker was presenting. I mean, they weren't even part of the session. How rude is that? Luckily, a table mate slammed the door in their face. I mean, if you're going to skip out of a session to chat with someone, there's a huge ocean to go to. Do it there. Tip number 2, if you're brave enough to attend a talk, pay attention, but don't try to show up the presenter. There was a very minor typo in a session I went to on the presenter's slide, and some guy called out the typo in the middle of the presentation. Really? Did that make you feel good, big man on campus? Wait till the end of it, if it really bothers you, and then nicely come out and point out the typo. If it bothers you that much, what happened to civility? Tip 3, you aren't the presenter. If you want us to hear how you blend your biochem and physics topics into a special smoothie that you created, I'll go to your talk. But I'm not at your talk. I'm learning about someone else's smoothie recipe. So chill out. Tip 4, don't eat during the presentation. I would rather look at a slide showing a simulation of mastication than you doing the real thing with a burrito. Can't even pronounce burrito. Tip 5, introduce yourselves to the others at your table. You might learn a lot from them, and it might make the whole experience more fun. We are teachers. We have to take risks and actually talk to people face to face sometimes. Okay, boomer. Here's some tips for my friends, the exhibitors. Tip 1, I love the exhibit hall. It's like a carnival, free stuff, pens, bags, shirts, diamonds. But carnivals also have a dark side. Some of the barkers can badger you. Step right up. What do you teach? Well, it ain't polka dancing. It gets obnoxious. The key is polite civility and enthusiasm. Don't shame me into seeing your booth. I ain't going to buy anything in that situation. I'll just take a lanyard when you aren't looking because you made me feel grumpy. Also, when I'm saying I'm from Winnipeg, don't fake it and say you know someone named Jack in Montreal. I don't know Jack. Tip 2, if you've got chocolate snacks, keep them peanut and tree nut free. Just a considerate thing to do. Tip 3, don't stare at your phone when I want to talk to you. One exhibitor was doing this. I think the exhibitor got a high score in Candy Crush and was totally disinterested in the high-energy cyclotron he was selling. So I just took it. He didn't even notice. It was tough to fit in my twine bag that I got from some outdoor ed company booth, so I just left it in the back of the convention center near the Shake Shack. I'm sure someone will find it. Do you have some conference tips? Send me a tweet at allthisscience or email me allthisscience@gmail.com. Heck, I went beyond 5 minutes. Tip to self, fix my watch. We'll see you next time.